in one way, California is it's sort of a tale of two cities. I mean, the Central Valley's got really high unemployment. The Bay Area does really well. San Diego tends to do pretty well. The urban centers have huge economies. They drive a lot of job growth. That's not necessarily true in the Inland Empire. It's definitely not true in the Central Valley. I mean, unemployment's still healthy double digits in the Central Valley, all over the place. So you got to consider that. I think also, I mean, I'm a small business owner, and I've represented a lot of them. I think some of my colleagues in the legislature don't really come from that world. They don't care much about it. And it's not that any one regulation by itself is necessary. I mean, some of them are just bad ideas. But some of them are meritorious ideas. But you start stacking them on top of each other decade after decade after decade, and there's no process for reviewing or even taking old regulations off the books that don't serve their purpose anymore. I mean, I've carried a bill for a couple years with Ken Cooley, Democrat, he's chair of rules on his vice chair, that would require administrative agencies that have the authority to promulgate regulation to do an internal evaluation and identify any regulation that can be sunsetted because it doesn't serve its purpose. We've had trouble getting that bill, signed out of committee. So, I mean, I think it's not just regulation. I think taxation matters. I think legal climate matters. I'm not an anti-lawsuit guy. I deal in lawsuits, I'm part for a living. There are times when you need recourse in the courts, when you're hurt, when you get ripped off, when you're stolen from, when you're injured badly due to no fault of your own. But we've got some laws like the Private Attorney General's Act, and what it's being used to do with wage and hour claims is just bad. I mean, I was talking to a restaurant owner, who I won't name, but they got hit with the PAGA lawsuit. 4 employees, they got their breaks. I mean, they got all their meal and rest times. It wasn't like they were actually harmed. The record keeping wasn't proper. Got hit with the PAGA lawsuit, many hundreds of thousands of dollars, almost put him out of business. I mean, this guy's in tears when he's telling me about this, right? I think we need to look at some of that stuff. You're never, by the way, going to get PAGA reform out of this legislature. It's not. But a statewide initiative could do it. And I think when you start telling the stories of particularly minority-owned businesses and restaurants that have been crushed with these lawsuits, and people aren't hurt. I mean, it's a straight wealth transfer to a narrow handful of attorneys. We saw it with the ADA for a while. There was that kind of rash of those. I think the legislature did step in and improve the situation there. But PAGA is the next, I think, next area we need to look at for reform. Because I do think businesses to expand, invest, stay in California, they all want some degree of certainty. And your taxation, one lawsuit's not going to put you out of business. And if you don't, or that some random state agency isn't going to show up with an inspection and close you down for the day. I mean, if you don't have that kind of certainty, then I think it can be hard to realize our potential. The last thing I'd note, though, on California, we are kind of boom and bust here, right? I mean, when the economy's good, like, we're doing better than anybody, relative to the rest of the nation. One recession tends to we are so reliant on the top 1% of income taxpayers. They pay like 35% of the state budget, right? And one recession, some of them move, their income drops a little bit, and we can go from 20 billion surplus to 20 billion in the red, like in a year. So we always have to kind of be on guard with that. I mean, I think the economy's humming now. We've got a rainy day fund that's fully funded, which is a good thing. But when times get bad in California, they tend to get worse sometimes in other places.